Hello again. Welcome to the show. I'm Ron Burke. We now have 8 teams left in the NFL playoffs, but only one will be elite when all is said and done. The Patriots, Jags, Chargers, and Colts on one side, the Giants, Boys, Seahawks, and Packers on the other. Let me now bring in our pack of analysts. We call them the three wise men here on the show. With me in Philadelphia, as always, is Brian Baldinger in the nation's capital. He's flashing some bling-bling. Show it to us, Doc. Doc Walker.
No, man, no. It's just that time of the year. It's just that time of the year, you know. It's just, this is what we're playing for,
Tim
right?
might be able to match them.
I want to know how you can lift those hands with all that heavy jewelry on it. And also in Dallas, courtesy of Bodog Football, we have the great Tim Brown. Gentlemen, welcome. It is crunch time. It's the time of season, the so-called second season, with one step advance now beyond the first round as we get into the second round this weekend. And we're going to begin with the New England Patriots as they continue their quest for perfection, entering the playoffs at 16-0. And Baldy, they'll host the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a lot to like about this Jaguars team. When you look at this particular matchup, though, it takes you back to a meeting last season between these two. And what does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Patriots are the story of this entire season so far, and it continues to be. And last year, Week 16, New England went down to Jacksonville. Jacksonville was fighting for a playoff spot. They were 8-6. And Tom Brady went down there, and he was throwing to guys named Kelvin Kite and Dave Thomas and handing off to Corey Simon. And none of these guys are in the league, and he was 28 of 39, 250, no turnovers. He carved them up last year. I can only imagine what he's going to do this year with much better personnel.
Well, look at the Jaguars here because David Garrard is really settling nicely as their quarterback. He's been really efficient for this team, and it helps that he has a nice 1-2 punch at running back in Fred Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew. And you can look at what those two guys present to the opposition. They were effective throughout the course of this season, Jones-Drew being a young player and Taylor playing like he's Maurice Jones-Drew age. And, Doc, when you consider what Jacksonville has in terms of a running game to accentuate that quarterback in Garrard, who is not as seasoned as Tom Brady and some others in this postseason, is that kind of a backbone you can lean on if you're Jacksonville to kind of get you through tough times if they encounter those this weekend against New England?
Well, yes, you can, but you're going to have to make some big plays in the air game because one thing, as you mentioned, New England will put up 30 points. And so if you choke the game down by running and don't score and have to settle for field goals, you will lose. That's a fact. They're going to still have to make some big plays and attack that 34 bubble and keep pressing it.
Well, this game, of course, features Randy Moss, but we have the original 81 in Tim Brown. And Tim, let me ask you, when you look at Jacksonville's air assault, or at least its air game, can the Reggie Williams, Ernest Wilfors, can guys like that be good enough in a second-round playoff game against a 16-0 Patriots team to make a difference, to be difference makers as a unit this weekend?
Well, I think they can be, but I think it's going to have to be few and far between. What I mean by that, they have to run the ball, obviously, and they have to set up the pass by running the ball. If they can do that, if they can run the ball effectively and then play action off the run, I think they have a very good chance. And when they do throw the ball, it has to be big plays, though. They can't be throwing the ball for 5- and 8-yard completions. I think they need to get the ball down the field. New England has shown to be vulnerable down the field. You can't make plays on these guys, so that's what they have to do. And I'm sure if Jacksonville is thinking, hey, we want to run the ball 50 times in this game and melt that clock down, but obviously they're going to have to put the ball in the air, and they just have to make the best out of it when they do.
Tim, when you watched David Garrard last week, his first playoff game, obviously makes the play at the end of the game, but how big and how important is it for a quarterback to be seasoned at this point, going on the road again into New England against that team where you got to score? Do you think he feels the pressure more than just another game for him right now, Tim?
Well, certainly he has to. If he doesn't, he's not human. To be in a situation like he's in right now, going up against the best team in the league and having the opportunity to try and take this team out, you have to be, feel that pressure a little bit, but at the same time, you have to be able to deal with it. That's how the great ones become great, is you learn how to deal with the pressure, and it's going to be a tough situation for him, but, what we saw David do last weekend was uncharacteristic of him. Throwing 2 interceptions on back-to-back series, it was just something that I hadn't seen him do since he's been playing. So, he has to protect the ball. If you turn the ball over to New England, they're going to kill you and surefire way to lose a football game.
And as we've seen, Baldy and Tim, it has been the effort of the defensive lines. The teams that are still playing in the Elite Eight all have one thing in common: pressure. And are they going to be able to get enough pressure on Brady in all different areas and all different ways to get in his mind a bit, because I haven't seen anybody stop Welker, not even get close to stopping him on third down.
I mean, that's the offense is built around him right now. In the slot right now, if you don't bounce him off the line of scrimmage, if you don't check him hard, I mean, he's too quick to cover him right now, and then he's also very explosive. He breaks a lot of tackles, Doc, so he catches over 100 balls in that offense right now.
That's right.
Brady went from throwing 24 touchdowns last year to throwing 50 this year. We've never seen a jump like that from anybody before, and Welker's been a huge part.
He's the man.
All right, so Jacksonville at New England, certainly a game to watch. You look over in the NFC as we switch gears now. You have the Seattle Seahawks visiting the Green Bay Packers, and this is like reunion week because it's Mike Holmgren against his former quarterback in Brett Favre. Seattle enjoying that extraordinary home field advantage with that crowd noise last week, but going on the road now to Lambeau. And let me ask you, Doc, you got to look at what the Seattle Seahawks crowd meant to that team last week from really start to finish of this game. Now they go into Lambeau. What atmosphere will the Packers fans respond with that Seattle might struggle with this week?
Well, it'll be in reverse. I don't think you can create the same sound effect, even at Lambeau, that you have in Seattle. But Seattle's defense, they surprised me. I was delightfully surprised. I knew they were quick. I didn't realize they were as physical as they were. I mean, they upset my boys, and they took it to them. They didn't trick them. I mean, they took it to them. And even though, but the third down conversion frightened me, because Washington's defense played well enough to win. And that would be my concern. Hasselbeck made some plays, but I don't think he made enough plays to beat the Packers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you watch Seattle's defense in that game, Doc, I mean, the noise that they play in there, it is such a disadvantage for the offense constantly. Watching Chris Cooley on the backside trying to cut off, the defense man, Patrick Kearney right there. He was too late. And if you're late, there's no place for Clinton Portis to go. So they don't get that advantage. I mean, if you just throw one stat out there, guys, I mean, Patrick Kearney had 14.5 sacks, had a great season, but he got 10 of those in Seattle. 4.5 came on the road. So it's not quite the same jump. You don't get quite the same advantage. And so they play at a more even playing field this weekend when they go to Lambeau.
You know, what Doc talking about not making enough plays, Seattle Seahawks offense not making enough plays, or maybe as many as he would have thought. And interestingly, Matt Hasselbeck went into that game with three receivers he had been used to working with. Bobby Ingram, a competent receiver. DJ Hackett, who's made some big plays. Nate Burleson, more of a punt returner, I think, as a home run hitter, but certainly a viable part of an offense. But this week, Tim, he could be getting back Deion Branch. And we know what kind of big game player Deion Branch is. What does it do to Hasselbeck and that Seattle offense now to get back that fourth cog, a guy as accomplished as Branch has been in important games?
Well, certainly, if you're a quarterback going into a big game like this, you want all your weapons with you. Romo down here in Dallas is crying like I don't know what, because he doesn't know if T.O. is going to be there. But, for Hasselbeck, this is huge for him. I mean, they're going to need it. I think they come into this game with a lot of momentum. I agree with Doc. I think their defense is playing great. Offensively, if they can come in and jumpstart this game by putting some points on the board against a pretty good Green Bay defense, I think it could be a very interesting football game. And, I don't know. I just have a little funny feeling about Brett Favre in this game. I can't see him playing as well after sitting out for so long. But it's going to be very interesting to see how Seattle can come out and with Deion Branch and make something happen real quick.
Tim, in a game like this, on the road, how much of an advantage do you give Seattle with Mike Holmgren, a seasoned coach, been in this spot many times throughout his career? How much of an advantage is that for that staff and for that team, knowing Mike has been there before?
Well, I mean, that's huge for the staff and for the players, because he's going to be able to tell them exactly how everything is about to go down. And because he's been there, stood on the sidelines, he knows how that whole thing happens. So that should make them feel very comfortable. But it's all about the quarterback in these games. We know that. The quarterbacks have to be the ones who are comfortable on the field. And I don't know about Hasselbeck and Brett, but we'll see what happens.
All right, as always, Tim, we appreciate your insight, and we tell our viewers, as we do each week, for more insight and analysis from Tim Brown. Check him out on BulldogFootball.net. Tim, as always, have a great one. We'll see you back.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, we're going to hit the Sunday games when we flip it back here on Pro